10 unspoken rules of connecting that create millionaires. The people with 10,000 LinkedIn connections are usually broke. The people with 50 deep relationships are usually millionaires. What's the difference? I watched two people at the same conference. First guy handed out 200 business cards, talked about himself non-stop, asked everyone, "What do you do?" Left with a stack of contacts he'll never follow up on. The second guy had 5 deep conversations, asked thoughtful questions, and remembered personal details. Left with 2 genuine friendships. 3 years later, first guy, same job, still spamming LinkedIn messages that get ignored. Second guy, co-founded a company with one of those connections, $2 million in revenue. Here's the truth. Everything you've been taught about networking is wrong. The expand your network hustle, that's for broke people. Wealthy people play a different game with completely different rules. Unspoken rules nobody teaches you. Today, I'm revealing 10 invisible rules of connecting that create millionaires. Break one of these and you're immediately labeled that person. Desperate, transactional, to be avoided. If you're tired of fake networking, smash subscribe and comment real connections. Stick to the end because Rule 10 might be the most counterintuitive thing you'll hear. Here's the first rule, and most people violate it within 60 seconds. Rule number 1, never ask for anything in your first conversation. Here's the first unspoken rule, and it's the one most people violate within 60 seconds of meeting someone. Never ask for anything in your first conversation. Nothing. Not advice. Not introductions. Not collaboration. Not can I pick your brain? Nothing. Broke networkers meet someone successful and immediately go into extraction mode. Can I pick your brain about your business? Translation: give me free consulting for an hour while I take notes and give you nothing in return. We should collaborate. Translation: let me use your audience, platform, and credibility to benefit myself. Do you know anyone who could help me with X? Translation: give me access to your network that I did nothing to earn. It's desperate, it's transparent, and it makes successful people avoid you like you've got a contagious disease. Wealthy people play the opposite game. First conversation is 100% about listening and giving value. They ask thoughtful questions about you. They offer help without being asked. "Oh, you're working on that? I just read a book you'd find helpful. Let me send it to you." They share resources, connections, ideas, zero agenda, zero asks, and they do it because they're genuinely interested, not because they're keeping score. Proverbs nailed this thousands of years ago. Give, and it will be given to you. Adam Grant's research proves it. Givers win long-term, takers lose. Dale Carnegie said you can make more friends in 2 months by being interested in others than in 2 years trying to get them interested in you. Here's what makes this brutally clear. You message someone, "Can I pick your brain about your business model?" They never respond. Because you just told them you want to take without giving. Wealthy person messages the same person. "I loved your recent article on X. Here's a podcast I think you'd enjoy based on what you said." Sends link. 3 months later, that person reaches out. "That podcast changed my perspective. Want to grab coffee?" That coffee leads to mentorship, partnership, $500K investment. The psychology is simple. When you give without asking, people feel safe around you. When you ask immediately, they feel hunted. In your next networking conversation, give 3 pieces of value: a resource, an introduction, an idea, before the month ends. Ask for 0. Watch what happens. But giving first is just the beginning. What I'm about to reveal next separates people who are forgettable from people who are unforgettable, and it has nothing to do with charisma or charm. It's something way more specific. Rule number 2, remember details, not just names. Here's where wealthy people separate themselves from everyone else, and most people completely miss it. They don't just remember your name, they remember everything you told them that matters to you. Your kid's name, the sport they play, the challenge you mentioned in passing 3 months ago, the book you said you were reading, the trip you were planning, and then, this is the key, they follow up specifically. Most people? Hey, how's it going? Generic. Forgettable. Lazy. Wealthy people? How did Sarah's soccer tournament go last weekend? You were nervous about it. You're shocked they remembered. That's the entire point. Dale Carnegie said a person's name is the sweetest sound to them. True. But remembering personal details goes deeper. It makes people feel genuinely seen and valued, not as a business opportunity, as a human being. That emotional connection is what separates transactional networking from actual relationships. Jewish tradition teaches remembering covenant details as sacred. Relational memory matters. Proverbs says the wise pay attention. Successful people are known for remembering tiny details about everyone they meet. It's not a superpower, it's an intentional effort. Here's the contrast. You, how's business? A generic question you ask everyone. Them gives a generic answer. Forgettable interaction. Wealthy person. How did your daughter's piano recital go last weekend? You mentioned you were nervous she'd freeze up. You absolutely floored. They remembered a passing comment from 2 months ago. You feel valued. You remember them. Forever. I know a woman who met an investor at a conference, mentioned casually her son was starting college. 6 months later, 6 months, investor sends a message. How's your son settling into his freshman year? She was shocked. Led to a meeting. Then an investment in her startup. He made me feel like I mattered as a person, not just a potential deal. That's rare. That's why I wanted to work with him. Here's how you do this. After every meaningful conversation, write down 3 personal details. Names of kids, hobbies, current challenges, goals. Not creepy, strategic. Then follow up within a week, referencing 1 detail. Names are basic. Everyone remembers names, or tries to. Almost nobody remembers what actually matters to you. That's the difference between a contact and a relationship. And speaking of making people feel valued, this next rule is what separates people who collect contacts from people who build relationships that actually last. Rule number 3. Follow up when you don't need anything. Here's the pattern that exposes transactional people instantly. They only reach out when they need something. You hear from them once a year, always when they're asking for a favor. Hey, long time, hope you're doing well. Quick question I need. Then radio silence for another 12 months until they need something else. It's so transparent, it's insulting. Wealthy people do the opposite. They check in regularly with zero agenda. Saw this article on something you mentioned. Thought you'd find it interesting. How's that project you were working on going? Just wanted to say hi and see how you're doing. No ask. No angle, just a genuine interest in how you're doing as a human. Proverbs says, a friend loves at all times, not just when it's convenient or beneficial. Jewish teaching talks about maintaining relationships as an ongoing covenant, not a transactional exchange. Business research proves warm relationships are 10 times more effective than cold contacts when you actually do need something. Here's the humor that makes this obvious. You. 3 years of complete silence. Then hey, long time, I have a favor to ask. Them. Read receipt, no response. Ever. Wealthy person, monthly check-ins for years. Never asks for anything, just shares wins, asks how they're doing, sends relevant resources. Year 4 casually mentions needing advice on something. Them, absolutely. When can we talk? How much do you need? I know an entrepreneur who sent quarterly check-ins to a mentor for 3 solid years. Never asked for a single thing, just shared wins, asked how the mentor was doing, sent articles they'd enjoy. Year 4, mentioned needing capital for expansion. Mentor replied the same day. How much do you need? I've been waiting for you to ask. I trust you because in 3 years, you've never asked for anything. That tells me everything. $200,000 investment. Same day. The pattern is simple. Month 1 after meeting, send a great meeting you message. Month 3, share something valuable. Month 6, check in on their project. Month 9, suggest no agenda coffee. By year 2, you have a genuine friendship where scorekeeping doesn't exist. Pick 5 people in your network. Send them a no agenda message this week. Just value, 0 asks. Make it a habit. Watch what happens over time. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to be labeled a user. Because this next rule is how wealthy people become known as the most valuable person in any room. And And it's not about what they know, but about who they connect. Rule number 4. Connect people to each other. Here's where most people completely miss the point of networking. They collect contacts like Pokemon cards and hoard them like treasure, afraid that if they introduce people, those people won't need them anymore. Scarcity mindset at its worst. Wealthy people, they're obsessed with connecting people who should know each other. You're working on X, you need to meet Sarah. She just solved that exact problem. They make introductions constantly with zero benefit to themselves. Don't keep score. Don't hoard relationships. Just create value for others and watch what happens. Malcolm Gladwell calls these people connectors in the tipping point. They're the ones who hold networks together. Jewish tradition considers making peace between people the highest good. Proverbs says, a generous person will prosper. Historically wealthy were patrons who connected talent with opportunity. This isn't new. Here's why it works. When you connect two people, both remember you facilitated something valuable. Your reputation as generous and valuable spreads. People naturally want to help you back, not because you asked, but because they're grateful. Plus, you now have indirect access to both their networks. It's exponential. Self-sustaining. Here's the contrast. You have 5,000 LinkedIn connections. Never introduce anyone. Hoard your network. People forget you exist. A wealthy person has 200 connections. Introduces 2 people every week. Within 5 years, connected over 500 people. When they need something, 12 people fight to help. You open doors for everyone. We're honored to open one for you. I know a consultant who made this her habit. Didn't charge, didn't keep score. Just thought these two should know each other and made warm introductions. 5 years, 200 plus connections made. When she needed capital for her business, 12 people wanted to invest. Same reason every time. You've spent years helping everyone else. This is our turn. How to do it well? Ask both parties for permission first. Explain specifically why the connection is valuable. Make a warm email introduction with context. Then step back and let them build their relationship. Don't force it or follow up unless asked. This week, think of 2 people in your network who should know each other. Make the introduction. Requires zero benefit to you. Watch what comes back eventually. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people, because this next rule proves you're not just networking when it's convenient. You're actually showing up when it matters most. Rule number 5. Show up when it doesn't benefit you. Here's the test that separates genuine relationships from transactional ones. Show up when you gain absolutely nothing. Most people only attend events where they're the center of attention or where it benefits them directly. They skip your book launch because they're too busy, miss your celebration because something came up. Disappear during your hard times because uncomfortable conversations don't advance their career. But the second they're hosting something, you're coming, right? Wealthy people play a different game. They show up to support you when they gain zero. Your small product launch, when you have 20 people there, they show up. Your charity event when they're already overbooked, they make time. Your toughest month when most people ghost, they check in. They're there in hard times and good times because that's what actual relationships look like. Proverbs says, a friend sticks closer than a brother. Jewish tradition treats visiting the sick as a sacred duty, showing up when it's uncomfortable. The biblical principle is clear. Mourn with those who mourn, rejoice with those who rejoice. Not just rejoice when it's convenient for you. Here's the brutal contrast. You skip their event because too busy. They remember. 2 years later, you invite them to your event. They're suddenly too busy too. Funny how that works. A wealthy person shows up to everything, celebrates everyone, supports everyone. When do they need support? Everyone shows up. I know an investor who showed up to a mentee's small product launch. Wasn't invited, wasn't expected, just appeared, stayed the entire event, brought friends. The mentee never forgot. Years later, became successful, sent every deal to that investor first, and turned down other investors to work with him. You showed up when I had nothing and nobody cared. I'll show up for you forever. Where to show up? Their events, even small ones. Hard times when it's awkward. Celebrations when you're having a bad month yourself. Especially when they say, you don't have to come. That's when you absolutely go. This month, attend one event for someone in your network where you gain nothing. No networking opportunity, no benefit, just support. Watch how they remember. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important, because this next rule instantly reveals whether you're secure or desperately trying to prove yourself to everyone you meet. Rule number 6, never name drop. Here's how you spot insecurity in 3 seconds. They name drop constantly. Broke networkers can't have a conversation without mentioning who they know. As I was telling celebrity name, my friend person says, I was just having dinner with. Every sentence is a humble brag about their connections, using relationships as social currency to seem impressive. It's desperate, it's transparent, and it makes people trust you less. Wealthy people never mention who they know unless it's directly relevant to helping you. Their relationships are private, not performance art for strangers. If a name naturally comes up in conversation, fine, but never to impress, never to prove worth. Confident people don't need external validation from borrowed status. Proverbs nails it. Let another praise you, not your own mouth. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about avoiding boasting. Jewish teaching places humility as the highest virtue. Modern psychology confirms, secure people don't peacock. They don't need to. Here's the humor that exposes this. You at a party? Yeah, I was just having dinner with celebrity name and we were discussing. Everyone rolls their eyes, makes a mental note to avoid you. Wealthy person at the same party. Humble. Interesting. Never mentions they're personal friends with 3 billionaires. Someone else finds out by accident. Wait, you know, billionaire? Oh yeah, we go way back. Everyone's mind explodes because they had no idea. I met a guy at a coffee shop, down to earth, talked about books, philosophy, and ideas. Never mentioned work. Became friends over 6 months. Found out later he advises Fortune 500 CEOs and is a close friend of famous entrepreneurs. Never came up once because he didn't need to prove anything. When I discovered it, yeah, I helped some companies, it's just work. The psychology is clear. Name dropping says, I'm not impressive on my own, so I'll borrow status from people I know. Security says, I'm interesting enough without mentioning my connections. People will discover your connections organically. That revelation is 10 times more impressive than you announcing it. Next conversation, count how many times you mention names to seem important. Goal, 0. Talk about ideas, not names. But here's where most people completely sabotage every relationship they try to build. And it has to do with the one resource wealthy people value more than money itself. Rule number 7. Respect people's time obsessively. Here's how you permanently damage a relationship in one interaction. Waste someone's time. Most people are oblivious to this. Can I pick your brain? Translation, give me an hour of free consulting while I waste your time with questions. Google could answer. They show up late to meetings, go over the scheduled time, don't prepare, ramble without purpose. Schedule meetings that should be emails, and then wonder why successful people stop returning their calls. Wealthy people treat others' time as more valuable than money, because it is. Money you can make back. Time? Never. They're obsessively punctual. Early is on time. They prepare thoroughly before meetings. I have 3 specific questions, which should take 20 minutes. They send agendas beforehand. They end early when possible. They thank people explicitly for their time. Benjamin Franklin said, time is money, but that undersells it. Seneca was more accurate. It is not that we have short lives, but that we waste much of it. Jewish teaching considers stealing someone's time as serious as stealing their money. Proverbs emphasizes the wise value of time above all. Here's the brutal contrast. Can we meet for coffee to chat about stuff? 90 minutes of rambling with no agenda, no preparation, no specific questions. Them never responds to you again. Wealthy person, I have 2 specific questions about X challenge I'm facing. I've researched Y and Z approaches. 20 minutes. Coffee on me. Does Tuesday at 10 work? Them. Immediately clears calendar, says yes. I know a junior employee who asked a CEO for advice. His email: I'm working on X challenge. I've researched Y and Z approaches already. I have 3 specific questions I couldn't find answers to. Would you have 15 minutes this week? CEO responded, love the preparation. Let's do 20 minutes tomorrow. The meeting lasted exactly 18 minutes. All questions answered. CEO afterward, most efficient meeting I've had in months. Let's do this quarterly. That relationship led to mentorship, promotion, and career transformation. Time respect protocol. Confirm meeting day before, arrive 5 minutes early, have a clear agenda, end on time or early. Follow up with a thank you note the same day. Next meeting request: include specific purpose, exact time needed, and the preparation you've done. Watch response rates skyrocket. Wait, the most important part is in the following story, because this next rule is what actually makes people want to spend time with you in the first place. And most networking advice completely misses this. Rule number 8. Be interesting, not just interested. Here's where most networking advice fails you. Everyone says be interested in others. True, but that's only half the equation. If you're just asking questions with nothing interesting to say yourself, no perspectives, no experiences, no insights worth hearing, you're not building a relationship. You're conducting an interview. And nobody wants to be interviewed for an hour by someone with no personality. Wealthy people understand this. Yes, be genuinely interested in others. Ask great questions. Listen actively, but also be someone worth talking to. Have hobbies outside work. Read widely so you can discuss ideas. Have perspectives. Share stories. Offer insights. Be someone they want to talk to again, not someone they're doing charity by engaging with. Aristotle said the educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living from the dead. Harsh, but true. The Renaissance ideal was the well-rounded person with diverse knowledge. Jewish tradition emphasizes studying broadly to engage meaningfully. Dale Carnegie taught both. Be interested and interesting. Here's what this looks like. You ask great questions, but have nothing fascinating to contribute. They feel like they're being interviewed. The conversation is one-sided. After, nice person, but a wealthy person asks great questions but also shares insights from a book they read on behavioral economics, tells a compelling story from their recent hiking trip, and discusses their experiment learning Portuguese. Makes everyone around them better, more engaged, more energized. Everyone wants their contact info. I attended a networking event. Most conversations, boring "what do you do" exchanges. One guy stood out, asked thoughtful questions, but also talked about a fascinating documentary on game theory he'd watched, his attempt to learn piano at 40, his thoughts on risk-taking from ultramarathon training. He made everyone around him more interesting. Everyone wanted to stay in touch. Why? He was actually enjoyable to be around. How to be interesting. Read 50 books a year. Have hobbies outside work. Travel or explore locally. Learn new skills. Develop perspectives on ideas, not just work. Tell stories, not just facts. The balance. 60% asking and listening, 40% sharing interesting things. Not 100% either way. This week, learn one new thing you can discuss for 5 minutes. Read a book, try a hobby, watch a documentary, become more interesting. Now, and it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it, because this rule challenges everything you've been told about building a big network. Rule number 9, quality conversations over quantity of contacts. Here's the lie everyone believes. The more contacts you have, the more successful you'll be. I have 5,000 LinkedIn connections. Cool. How many of them would take your call? How many actually know you? How many remember your name? Most people play the numbers game. Collect as many business cards as possible. Add everyone on LinkedIn. Surface level everything. Depth nowhere. A stack of 200 cards from one event that'll sit in a drawer forever. Can't remember a single person. No one remembers them. Wealthy people play the opposite game. 50 people who actually know them versus 5,000 who don't. 1 hour-long deep conversation with one person versus 5-minute chats with 12 people. They go deep on interests, values, challenges, and goals. They build actual friendships, not contact lists. Dunbar's number proves humans can only maintain about 150 meaningful relationships maximum. Proverbs warns, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Jewish tradition values deep learning partnerships over shallow acquaintances. Historically wealthy had small, tight circles, not large, loose networks. Here's why depth beats width. Trust requires time and depth. Opportunities come from people who actually know you, not people who vaguely remember meeting you once. Deep relationships multiply. They introduce you to their networks, which gives you indirect access to thousands. Shallow relationships don't return your calls when you actually need something. The contrast is brutal. Person A attends 50 networking events per year, collects 2,000 contacts, stays surface level with everyone. 3 years later, no opportunities from network, no one remembers them. Person B attends 12 events per year, has deep conversations with 24 people, meets them monthly for coffee, builds real friendships. 3 years later, 2 job offers, 3 collaborations, 1 business partnership, same effort, focused differently. How to go deep, attend fewer events, have longer conversations, follow up with coffee, not just LinkedIn. Share vulnerabilities, not just victories. Meet repeatedly, build an actual relationship. Remember and care about their life beyond business. The math is simple. 5 deep relationships who trust you beat 500 shallow contacts who barely know your name. Identify 10 people in your network you want deeper relationships. Schedule a coffee with 1 per month. Go from contact to friendship over the next year. And here's the final rule, the one that ties everything together and might be the most counterintuitive of all because it's about knowing when to stop talking. Rule number 10. Exit gracefully. Don't overstay, leave them wanting more. Here's the final rule, and it separates people who are magnetic from people who are exhausting. Most people overstay conversations out of desperation. The conversation naturally peaks, energy starts to fade, the other person checks their watch, but they keep talking. Can't read social cues, can't let the interaction end. Trap people in endless conversations that drag on 20 minutes past comfortable. Make it awkward for the other person to escape. Wealthy people do the opposite. They end conversations before you want them to leave. They read energy. When it peaks, they exit shortly after. This has been fantastic. Let's continue this another time. They leave you wanting more, not less. Exit before the awkward silence or forced small talk. Make it easy for you to end the conversation too. Proverbs captures this perfectly. When you find honey, eat just enough. Too much, and you'll be sick. Marcus Aurelius wrote about moderation in all things. Jewish teaching says, leave while they still want you. Entertainment principle, always leave the audience wanting more. Psychology confirms with the peak end rule, how you end determines how they remember the entire interaction. Here's the humor that reveals everything. You talk for 90 minutes past when they check their watch 4 times. They're relieved when you finally leave. They avoid you at future events. A wealthy person has a great 30-minute conversation, which ends at the peak. Let's continue this over coffee next week. Them. Already excited for the next meeting, texts you the next day to schedule. I had an amazing conversation with a potential mentor at a networking event. 20 minutes in, flowing beautifully. 25 minutes, natural peak. Could have kept going. Instead, this has been so valuable. I don't want to take more of your time tonight, but I'd love to continue this. Would you be open to coffee in the next few weeks? Absolutely. Most people trap me in conversations for an hour. You're the first person tonight who respected my time. Let's definitely meet. That graceful exit led to a year-long mentorship. How to exit? Watch for the conversation peak. End 5 minutes after. Give them an excuse. I know you need to mingle. Future focus. Let's continue this next week. Be genuine. Make the goodbye quick. Don't drag it out. Next conversation, end while it's still going well. Leave them wanting more. Which rule hit you hardest? Comment the number 1 to 10, because what I'm about to tell you is something most people regret their entire lives, not understanding sooner. Remember the 2 people at the conference? One with 200 business cards he'll never use, one with 5 deep conversations that changed his life. Same event, different approach, different results. 10 unspoken rules: give before asking, remember details, follow up with no agenda, connect others, show up when it doesn't benefit you, never name drop, respect time obsessively, be interesting, go deep, not wide, exit gracefully. Here's the truth: millionaires don't network. They build relationships. One is transactional and desperate. The other is genuine and magnetic. One repels opportunities. The other attracts them effortlessly. Break these rules once, you're labeled that person, to be avoided. Follow them consistently, you become the person everyone wants to know, help, and do business with. This week, pick one rule. Apply it in every interaction. Watch what changes. Which rule hit hardest? Comment on, be honest. Which are you breaking? Hit subscribe, because next week I'm revealing what wealthy people talk about in conversations that broke people never discuss. Stop collecting contacts, start building friendships. Broke people network, wealthy people connect. Same events, different energy, different life.